Yes, guys. Welcome back to another stream, man. We're back with a preview, guys. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Make sure you drop a like on the stream. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well. If you are new, we're obviously on the second channel. By the way, guys, make sure you go watch the FFP video that we done this morning. Myself, Martin, and Hugh also jumped on halfway through the stream. It was a great chat, actually. Really good conversation. But I am joined by Dave from Talking Wolves, of course. City play Wolves tomorrow in a massive game. We're going to be speaking about it. Big up to you, bro. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, bro. I'm all right. I'm a bit stressed. Bro. I can't lie, because when you get onto this part of the season, yeah, so much stuff starts going on in your head, and like you start like I don't know, just getting super worried about every little thing, like injury concerns. Like, so a manager says something in the press conference, and you're like, whoa, what's he talking about? Because obviously this is it now, isn't it? Like there's no room for error and stuff. And listen, I want to speak about obviously tomorrow, but first of all, I just want to say, man, your team. I'm not actually saying this because you're coming on here, yeah. And the chat. Your Wolves are my second favorite team this year in the league, man. You guys play some unreal football. Like I remember when you beat us 2-1 in the first game, and like obviously it was a bit of a dull affair, but
Yeah,
set up really well. Like made it super tricky for us, and obviously got the win in the end. But then like I watch you guys play in other football, and it's like you guys play mega stuff. Like, do you guys like what's your sort of view on like the way Wolves have been this year? Because like I say, for me, I actually really love watching Wolves play.
yeah. No, we have, and I think it's sort of all come down to Gary O'Neill. Really, he's really surprised us with how well he's done. To be honest, I think with the situation that we had when Lopetegui walked out on us right at the start of the season, and Gary O'Neill came in, it was quite a bit of pressure on him, really, because not a lot of people rated him too much in the fact that, he hadn't had much experience previously in the Premier League. But the way that he's approaching games is brilliant. I think that City game really is what kick-started our season, because he'd had a mixed start before then. He changed the system for that game against City. And like you said, although it wasn't a classic, I think with his game plan, he obviously went out with a certain game plan against City, and it worked absolutely perfectly. And since then, he's kept to that shape, to a degree, kept to that style as well. And we've just gone from there. Obviously, it could have been a little bit better this season, but we've been unlucky with injuries. And at the same time, with the predictions at the start of the season, you could find probably 9 out of 10 YouTubers look at their Premier League predictions. I think Wolves would have been in their bottom 3. So the fact that we're safe, we were in the conversation for European football a few weeks ago, I think he's done a fantastic job.
Oh, am I muted? Was I muted then?
There we go. I can hear you now. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was
What
my
what
end.
what was the reception to Gary O'Neill when he joined Wolves? Because I was just saying, when he was at Bournemouth, he done a mad job at Bournemouth. Yeah, kept them in the division, and then
Yeah.
because he kept them in the division, he got that automatic 1-year extension. But then I remember driving in the car one time, yeah, and the Bournemouth fans wanted him sacked, and I was like, he just kept you up, and they wanted him sacked. Like, so then what was the reception when he came to you? Was you guys a bit like, oh, well, Bournemouth fans didn't want him, so we don't want him, or was you a little bit more open to it? Because it seems to me like Gary O'Neill's got like a little bit of a weird aura around it. It's kind of changed now, but when he was appointed at Wolves, everyone was kind of like, "No, I don't really want him." Like, what was like the Wolves fans
Yeah,
reception at the time?
it was that. And I think, but a lot of that was down to, obviously, we had Lopetegui at the time, who was obviously had a good reputation around him. And although his experience at Wolves, he came in to do a job, keep us up and go from there. And ultimately, Lopetegui sort of threw his toys out the pram and didn't want to know. But Wolves have gone from this sort of Europa League winning manager to somebody that's not even got 1 year's experience as a top flight manager. So I think that was a concern for Wolves fans, but he soon shut everybody up. I think that City game, like I mentioned earlier, was one where people are like, hold on a minute, like I think we need to start to take this guy a little bit more seriously. So everyone's on his side now, I think, really, with you see very little negativity towards Gary O'Neill, even with our sort of form recently hasn't been fantastic. But a lot of that is down to people sort of appreciating the situation that we're in with our squad depth and injuries and so on. Where in a lot of the time, sort of, it's a split. A lot of fans start to blame the manager for the drop in form, but everyone seems to be singing from the same hymn sheet, really. So good, really productive first season for him, and I think I think he knows that though. He's starting to send little messages out to the board saying, "Look, you need to start backing me this summer, otherwise I might be looking elsewhere." But he's been linked with some big jobs already, and I think
Yeah, I've seen that.
experience, if he could carry on with the trajectories that he's on at the moment, I think he'll be linked with some big jobs again next year.
Yeah, well, there was obviously the rumours about the Liverpool job. That's obviously not materialised, but yeah, I mean the way he's got you guys playing, yeah, I think it wouldn't surprise me if like I don't know if a Champions League side, but like maybe like you're not telling me he couldn't do a worse job than Ange at Tottenham, for example. Like I'm not having that like he's much further behind Ange. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And he's at Spurs, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he takes Wolves, man. And of course, if they do give him a bit of cash, then who knows? I mean, you got some mad players in there. Yo, Cunha's a funny player, yeah. Whenever I watch this guy play, unreal baller. Like I'm watching this guy play. He's one of the best footballers in the league. If this guy could shoot,
Yeah.
£100 million player there all day long. But like does he frustrate you? Because like I say, when I watch him play, I love watching him play. But then as soon as he gets in front of goal, maybe apart from the Chelsea game when he ripped him apart, like he just seems to not have that clinical edge, man. Like what's the score with him? And will he be fit for the game tomorrow?
Yeah, so I think he'll be fit. I got another 75 minutes or so last weekend. And you could see the difference straight away. I mean, with Hwang as well. Hwang was out injured for a while. And last week was the first time that Cunha and Hwang had started together since the end of December. So that was, a big boost for us. And you could tell, I know it was Luton, but in terms of the quality of the attacking movements and so on, it was the best we played in a while. Cunha's a weird one. He's probably turning out to be one of my favourite Wolves players at the moment, just because works hard. You can tell he appreciates, where he's at the moment. Like you said, in terms of a footballer, his ability is fantastic. He's still got an okay amount of goals. I think he's hit 11 league goals so far this season, but it could be more. I think the opening day of the season at Old Trafford, he had 2 or 3 what I would call
Yeah,
clear-cut chances,
he
which he
did. He
missed.
did.
But throughout the season, there have been other moments like that. But sometimes with the injuries, he's had no Neto for the majority of the season. He's been without Hwang for times. He's basically had to drag this squad across the line sometimes. So I'm hoping next season, if he stays fit and a couple of quality players around him, he'll really kick on even further than what he has now. But ultimately, Wolves pay 50 million quid for him. So you'd expect a certain level of quality anyway. And I think he's starting to show that a little bit more now anyway. But I'm just surprised that he's not linked with more moves away. I think Hwang's been linked with moves away, Neto, João Gomez and so on. But for me, Cunha's probably, in terms of consistency and threat, I think Cunha's as good as all of them.
Yeah, he's a baller. He's I really like watching him, man. He's just a bit more old school and like
Yeah.
the way he drives forward and that's pretty good. Before we get on to City, bro, talk to us about Neto because he's a player that gets linked with a lot of clubs, man. Like, you know what I mean? He's an unreal player. I've seen him linked with City many times, Liverpool. Got some injury concerns. I think maybe you could let us know about that. But like,
Yeah.
what's the story with Neto again? What is he going to be available for tomorrow? And do you see this summer being an opportunity that maybe he's going to make a move?
Yeah, so with Neto, he started off the season fantastically, and it's been sort of the story ever since Neto joined Wolves. The fact that he's always consistently probably our best player in pre-season, and as a fan, you're rubbing your hands together, thinking, "Yeah, this is the one. This is the one." And then he gets an early injury, and he's out for like 3/4 of the season. And the last 2 years, it's happened. He was heavily linked with Arsenal before the 22-23 season. Great pre-season. I thought, he might make the move now. Got injured after about 3 or 4 games, out for the majority of the season. And this year, the same, brilliant in preseason, but he kicked on. And at about October, most assists in the league, really kicked on. And I thought, this is the one. This is the season now. And we're going to have to be careful, or we can almost name our price for him. Got a little injury at the end of October, came back in January, got another injury. And then he's sort of been out until sort of around about now. So, do I think he could leave Wolves in the summer? Yes, but I don't think it'll be the fee that Wolves necessarily would want, because I think as good as a player Pedro Neto is, because of his absence, his injury record, it's not fantastic. So that's my concern with Neto at the moment. Gary O'Neill said today in his pre-match press conference that he's back in full training and in contention. I've literally, just before we started this, I was told that he's not in the squad tomorrow, but I've just got to get that confirmed first. But I think regardless, if he is with the squad tomorrow, he won't start the game tomorrow against City. But fantastic player, like so good to watch. You talk about how Cunha is, but Neto is another player that could grab the game by the scruff of the neck, get your team up the pitch 70 yards. Like we saw against City at Molineux, you know, the goal went down as an own goal in the end, but he just ran the length of the pitch pretty much and put that ball in for, I think it was Diaz who got the own goal in the end. So I don't know. It's a shame he got injured because I think his numbers this year would have been phenomenal with the way he'd started.
He was slamming it, wasn't he? He was slamming it, man.
I think he had about 8 assists within about 8 games, and it took another sort of 7 or 8 games before anyone overtook him. I think it was Trippier at the time overtook him about 7 or 8 weeks after he got injured. So yeah, but like I was saying earlier about Cunha and Hwang hadn't started together since the end of December. I would class Hwang, Cunha, and Neto as our best front three. They've not started a game together since the end of October. So the fact that Wolves are where they are in the league without consistently having their front three is very good. Very good.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. These are top players, man. Like these are top players. So if you do end up selling them, obviously you hope you don't, but if you do, you're going to get big cash. And then, you know, I guess, you know, you probably trust the board and trust the people who make the transfers to go and get you some adequate replacements and that. So it'll be interesting to see. Before we move on to City, what's going on with that the FFP situation at Wolves, bro? Because I can't lie, like I've not kept my eye on it, but like when we signed Núñez, we was getting told that all like Wolves are in like they're in tricky waters. Like, are you guys chilling now? Like, what's the situation there?
So it was, there was a lot of mixed reports really. I've even seen some this week which don't look. Well, it looks like a load of rubbish, really. But yeah, Wolves last season, especially because we were sort of on the margin anyway. And then when Lopetegui came in, it was pretty obvious that we needed to bring in a lot of players. So we spent a lot of money in January 23 for Lopetegui. So it got to the summer, and Wolves basically they put out a statement pretty early on. The chairman did, saying basically we need to be very, very careful here, otherwise we could get punished. And I think he was pretty much saying we need to sell if we're going to buy players. And at the time, there weren't many sellable assets. We'd let Neves go quite early on, and there wasn't a huge amount of value in some of our players because of how disappointing last season was. And people went mad about the chairman for that. But ultimately, he's proved right because Everton and Forest carried on spending, and they've got the point deductions. So I think we're in a much more comfortable position now. Like you said, we sold Núñez, we replaced him, and we were able to sign 3 or 4 players with that money. But I would expect this summer we would need one more big sale before we can start splashing the cash a little bit more. Obviously, today we've announced the signing of Tommy Doyle, which is a nice signing for the fee.
Yeah, I've seen that actually before. Yeah.
But yeah, I think ultimately we are expecting one of probably Neto, João Gomez, or Aït-Nouri probably to be moved on to allow Wolves to make signings this summer. But we're not in immediate danger, but we just got to be cautious still, as most clubs do in the league.
Yeah, what's Tommy Doyle been like for you guys? Because obviously he's liked by a lot of City fans, because obviously his family connection at City was mad strong, and a lot of City fans were disappointed to see him leave. You've obviously got him in. I checked his stats before. It seemed like he had a bit of a slow start, but seems to be playing quite a lot of games at the moment. Is he a player that you like? Like maybe tell us about maybe some of the pros and cons from what you've seen.
I like him. Like you said, it was a slow start for him. I think he had to be very patient because he came still quite late in the window for us. Didn't really have a pre-season with us, but neither did Gary O'Neill really. But he had a slow start for us. And really, João Gomez and Mario Lemina, our main 2 central midfielders, have been fantastic this year. So he almost had to wait for one of those to be suspended or injured, and that's what happened really. I think Lemina got suspended, so Doyle got some game time, and he's been really good when he's had the opportunity. He's been very, very good. I think with a player like him, he's not the quickest, he's not the most physical. So if you can get the role right for him, I think he could be a very good player. And not a direct comparison, but a lot of his attributes are similar to what Ruben Neves had with the how comfortably he's on the ball, the way he can spray the ball around. I was hoping to see maybe 1 or 2 more long-range goals. We saw a great goal from him against Brentford in the FA Cup on his weak foot. Brilliant goal from range, but really good player. And I think for the fee, which is about £4.5 million,
can't complain.
Brilliant. You can't complain. I know City have got a lot of things in their favour, like a 50% sell on and stuff like that. But the £4.5 million for an English player as well in this day and age is a steal, really.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, and what's your thoughts on Núñez, bro? Núñez is one that sort of like it gets the fan base a bit debating this situation, because for me, I thought when we bought him, it seems to me like a bit of a panic buy, mainly due to the fact that we'd already tried to sign about 5 midfielders, and every single one of them rejected us or broke down, like in the case of Paqueta. My take on Núñez, I'd be interested to know what yours is, but my take on him, I really like him. I think he's a super exciting player. He's completely different to all our other midfielders in that he likes to get the ball from deep and drive forward with it. It's not really a Pep style midfielder, I would say. So I was very surprised that we signed him. But I like him. My concern about Nunes is whether or not he'll ever fit the City team because, like
Yeah.
I say, he doesn't really strike me as a Pep player. But from your point of view, you obviously seen him more than us. What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? And do you think, from like what you've seen at City and know of Pep Guardiola, do you think that he could potentially find his way into this City team?
It's interesting with Nunes because I mean, at the time we signed him, it was very exciting, because he'd sort of gone on all summer and then he kept rejecting us or whatever, and he was on holiday and we didn't, it was always like whenever you thought you might be close to signing Nunes, it was pushed back another week or two, and you just had to keep waiting. But when he came in, I think we always knew that at the back of his mind, Wolves have been stung over the last few years with players that don't particularly want to leave their current club. So I think in the back of our mind, we thought, right, he's going to treat us as a stepping stone. I didn't think it'd be as soon as summer just gone. But with Matheus Nunes, whenever I watched him, it was frustrating and strange because I could see an unbelievable footballer, but just couldn't get the final product out of him. Like when he's on the ball, like I said, I think, you look at some players sometimes with the eye test, you look at him and I'm like, yeah, he's a serious baller. But then just for whatever reason, it just didn't come off for him. But to be fair, he was played out of position. He was played at right wing at times. He was played in like a really weak Wolves side at the time.
Well, what is his best position? What do you think his best position is? Because
I
don't
think
really know me.
I think he's a central midfielder, but the best I see from Nunes is when he's on the ball. That he's a dribbling ability is very, very good. So I think he needs to play deeper. So, but like you said,
risky, isn't it? Because we actually conceded a goal recently where he picked the ball up from deep, tried to turn, lost it, and then he ended up scoring. So it's like a bit risky, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I can't really see. And sometimes this happens in football. As good as a player is, they need to fit into a certain system. I can't see where he fits into City's system, especially as you guys probably 9 times out of 10 your back line's going to be sat on the halfway line pretty much.
Yeah,
he either needs to pick out a pass or have a good eye for a pass, or be able to maybe just dictate the game. I don't think he really has either of those. He's much more of a player that likes to get on the ball and try and make things happen. So. I don't know, good footballer, don't get me wrong, but I think he had played his best football at Sporting is like in a pivot, like with 2 midfielders alongside Palinha. So Palinha could do all the hard work and he could just sort of roam around. Whereas Wolves, it just didn't quite work out. So I was happy to get the money that we got for him. Obviously, the way that he left Wolves wasn't fantastic. So a lot of Wolves fans don't have much respect for him. And you could tell that at Molineux, that is the most toxic I've heard an atmosphere towards one player in my life. And I think Pep pulled him off the pitch in the end at half time. So, good player, but I can't see his long-term future being at City, if I'm honest, especially with the players that you linked with ahead of this summer.
Okay, interesting. All right, guys, make sure you are dropping a like on the stream if you've not done so already. What have you made of City more generally, bro, this season from what you've seen? I don't know how much you've seen of City, but sort of like from what you have seen, have you been impressed, disappointed? Like, what's your take on City this year?
I think we're all well, everyone was expecting City to be sort of at where they are in the table right now. I think, well, I suppose they have been up until recently. I expected Liverpool to put up a bit more of a fight. Although I speak to my friends who are Liverpool fans that have said, well, no, we were never going to be challenging for the title this season. I was like, you were, and especially with the situation around Klopp as well. I thought, this is going to go right to the wire. So I still consider you guys as favourites for the title, if I'm honest. I think it's in your own hands. You guys know that as much as I do. But in terms of how comfortable you are in games, I think last season, for argument's sake, you were going into games very, very comfortable. Whereas this season, I think you've had a couple more scares than what you tend to have. I mean, even last week against Forest, I watched that game, and I think the first 60 minutes, I was worried for City. Really, I really think they struggled to get into that game. But then
you were worried. Okay, now you see what we were like.
But I think the thing with Haaland as well. I mean, last season this season has been great, but last season was absolutely unbelievable. He's a machine, and obviously with his consistency, with his fitness and injuries this year, I think that's never easy to replace somebody that scores 50 plus goals or whatever it was last year. So I think the fact that they're still top end of the table with the injuries and the squad consistency that they've had, I think fair play for you boys. But I think if you squeezed past Real Madrid, I would have had your favourites for the Champions League as well. And I think that's a shame for you guys. I'm sure some City fans are disappointed that wasn't the case again. But overall, it's going to be a success. If you win the title again, you can't look past it as another successful season for City.
Yeah, defo. Right, bro. You gonna tell us that you're on the beaches tomorrow, man? Because this is what we need to hear. I need you to say, "Yeah, Wolves are on the beaches." These are the words that I need you to hear, man. I'm looking at your form. So you won your last game, but before that, actually, I think you mentioned it earlier. Actually, some tricky results.
Yeah.
You have played some decent teams in there, though. To be fair, I mean, Aston Villa. West Ham on the day are pretty good. Arsenal, you know what I mean? Disappointing results probably against Burnley, Forest, and
Mm.
Bournemouth. But yeah, what do you think for tomorrow, man? You think Wolves are going to turn up? I mean, please tell us that you're going to be on the beaches, man. Because I
Well,
actually think everyone keeps on speaking about like Spurs. Everyone
mm.
keeps on speaking about Fulham away. But like I say, man, you guys are a good team, and I just feel like that's why the title of this stream is "Stop Underrating Wolves." Because I just feel like no one's really speaking about it. And of course, Arsenal play first thing tomorrow, so they're going to beat Bournemouth. Let's be honest. So that puts the pressure right on us by the time we play you guys. And of course, we've seen what the pressure did last weekend when we went to Forest. Now I know we just played Real Madrid, but I don't know, man. Tell us that you're going to be on the beaches, man.
We haven't. Well, we've not been fantastic recently. So look, I'm back in the City win. I fully expect City to beat us. To be honest, tomorrow. I think if a fully fit Neto was involved, it could be a different story. Because I think with the pace that we would have had in our front line, we could have caused City some problems. I always look back as a blueprint. I look back when we played you under Nuno, and he started Adama as a right wing back. We held you for about 60, 70 minutes, and he put Adama up front. Well, I think someone like Mangala was playing for you boys back then. Mangala or Otamendi or something like that as a back two.
Nice.
So, I mean,
Nice.
yeah, nowhere near the quality that you boys have got now. But yeah, he put Adama at top. And I thought almost like you got to stink the place out for like 60, 70 minutes and then take your chance. And that's what he did with Adama. So I think Gary O'Neill's got to try and do the same tomorrow. But look, I don't want to write Wolves off because like you said earlier, we've got some fantastic footballers. I think he'll try and pack out the midfield a little bit more to get a bit more of a presence in there. And then we've just got to rely on the quality of Hwang and Cunha, and then probably the wing backs, Nori and Semedo to get us up the pitch. But bar the Luton result, ever since the FA Cup really against Coventry, our season's just fell off a cliff. I think the Coventry game, we were looking at it and thinking, look, we're in touching distance of European football. We could get to Wembley again, to get to the FA Cup semi-final. And when we lost that, we'd lost the next Premier League game. I think everyone just thought, nah, that's the season done. We're mathematically safe. We can't get Europe. That's it. We're done now. So I think City will be okay personally, but I'm hoping, obviously, with my Wolves glasses on, I'm hoping that we can, still cause you a couple of problems tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, man. I'm just so nervous, man. I'm literally so
It's
nervous.
mad
I just
because,
feel
like,
like,
obviously for City, they've lost 3 league games out of like 36 or whatever this season. It's still, in a way, it's good that you guys are still going into games like this nervous when in reality, like 95% of your games, you're going to go and win.
well, you
I
know
suppose
what's
that's the
weird,
beauty of
right? You know
football
what's
as well.
weird is, and I don't know if you notice this, because obviously you're not a City fan, but like a lot of Arsenal fans go, oh, if we win our next 3 games, we won't win the league because City would have won it, but we've only lost 3 games all season, right? And it's like, how can we compete with Manchester City? You know, if we draw 1 match and win the other 3, we won't win the league, even though we've not lost a game since Aston Villa on the 6th of December.
Mad, absolutely.
But then if we go, we can't compete with Arsenal. Everyone just like starts going mad.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man. It's honestly insane. So listen, if we get through tomorrow, we got Fulham, Tottenham, West Ham. Yeah, I mean, so this is a tricky one, man. Honestly, I just hope
I've had Arsenal fans DMing me like as if I can make, if I'm starting up for Wolves tomorrow, there's like, mate, you got to do us a favour. It's like I don't know what I can do, mate. To be honest,
yeah, it's fucking crazy. All right, mate, nice one. Have you got any sort of previews coming up? Any reviews? What's going on your channel?
Yeah. So on our channel, Talking Wolves, done a preview for the game. We'll have my reaction and stuff after the match tomorrow as well. So I think regardless, our Wolves season's done. So I'm sure I'll give my thoughts on that game, and all the best to City for the rest of the season. Obviously, I'm hoping you guys go all the way and win the title again.
Nice one. Cheers, Dave.
Thanks,
guys,
mate.
hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you drop a like. Watching back on replay, then of course give us your comments in down below. Make sure you go and check out that FFP video that we done this morning, guys. You need to go check it out. Rumours circulating that the Premier League and City have agreed some sort of weird deal, man. So go check it out, man. Smash a like, subscribe, and guys, we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.